The body may be rusty, but that is not what hurts the most. What hurts is how fast the old memories shows up. You walk in thinking, I have done this before, but then the warm-up feels heavier than it should. And before the real work has even started, your brain is already asking, why does this feel so bad? That is what we're breaking down today. Why confidence can drop so quickly after a time away. Why one normal session can suddenly feel personal. And why that rough feeling does not mean you lost everything. Imagine this. You are already in the gym. No more planning, no more thinking about going, no more telling yourself, I will start soon. You are here. And now the feeling changes. Before the gym, training was a thought. Inside the gym, it becomes a tad bit too real. People around you look like they know exactly what they're doing, and you are trying to act normal while your mind is already checking everything. How do I look? Do I look unsure? Do I look like I have been away a long time? Like I used to be here all the time? That is the first hit. The feeling that people can tell. But the truth is, most people are not watching. Most people are busy with their own sets, phones, and problems. But your brain does not care. Your brain says, everyone knows. Everyone knows I haven't been here, that I am weaker, that I'm not where I used to be. And that thought makes the workout feel heavier. Movement that used to feel normal suddenly feels like your body needs written instructions. And that is what catches you off guard. Not that it feels uncomfortable. What catches you off guard is how quickly your mind starts turning that discomfort into a story. You are not just thinking, this weight feels heavy. You're thinking, I used to be better than this. That is why the first workout back can feel so emotional. You start comparing current you against the version you remember. The version that trained more often, knew the routine, had a better rhythm. And now, standing there in the gym, that old version feels close enough to remember but far enough to hurt. And now your current body does not match that old picture. You look at the plan and think, I have been away for too long, so I need to hit everything today. A full body session, a proper return. Something that feels like you are finally taking it seriously again. But this is where the pressure starts to build. Because now you're not only training, you are trying to make up for lost time, to prove you still care, to show yourself that the old version of you is still somewhere in there. And that is a lot to place on one gym session. Let's walk through what is actually happening. Why does the first workout back feel so bad, even when the workout itself might not be extreme? There are a few layers here, but the first one is simple. Your body is not used to the signal anymore. The movement is there, but it is not as smooth. The weights feel heavier than they should. So the same workout that once felt normal can now feel a bit awkward. The pattern is still there. You remember the exercise, but it can just be a bit uncomfortable to get into again. The second layer is soreness and effort. When you return after a time away, your body can react strongly to movements and angles it has not done for a while. It can create more soreness because your body is not used to it. That is why the workout may feel manageable in the moment, and then the next day the stairs become your enemy. The worst part of it is often the surprise. You expected training to feel hard, but not that hard, especially afterwards. And when reality is worse than expected, your mind starts looking for meaning. Your body says this is hard. Your brain says something is wrong. Hard does not mean wrong. Hard can mean just being a bit rusty, that your body is waking up to something it has not done in a while. The third layer is expectation. Most people do not return to their training with a blank slate in mind. They return with their old numbers, routines, and memories. The old proof of what they used to do. Right here, the mind can be unfair. It does not compare you to your average workout. It compares you to your best and strongest version. The version where everything felt under control, and then the day starts to feel worse. Instead of I'm getting back into it, it becomes I'm way behind than I thought. Those two feel completely different, and how the effort feels changes the story. This is where confidence comes in. When you believe you can handle it, effort feels like a challenge. When you doubt yourself, the same effort can feel like a threat. No wonder it feels bad. You're not only training, you are judging, checking your form, the weights, how tired you feel. That is a lot of tabs open in your head. And every tab uses energy. Energy you could have spent elsewhere. The fourth layer is memory. You remember discomfort. If last time around training felt stressful or painful, maybe boring or linked to guilt, you might not be that excited to return. So when you start again, the resistance shows up early. That resistance can feel and be interpreted as laziness. This is why the first time back, the workout should not feel like punishment. If you punish yourself for taking a break, you connect that coming back feeling with something awful. And then the next break becomes even harder to return from. You create a loop. Stop training, feeling guilty about it, coming back way too hard, feeling terrible, and you start avoiding again. And a lot of people mistake that loop for a lack of discipline. But many times it is not discipline, it is just a bad return strategy. If this is helping you understand why training can feel harder in your head than on paper, like the video and subscribe. Back to the video. So how do we use this? How do we make the first workout and the next couple of weeks after some time away feel more manageable and less overwhelming? The first session has one main job. It is not to prove your old strength or to destroy and punish you for coming back after a break. It is not to make up for missed time. The goal is to make the next session easier to start, because one big session does not rebuild the consistency you had before. Repeatable sessions does. This is where many people get it wrong. They come back and try to do their old program right away. Same weights and exercises, the same expectations. Then it all starts to feel terrible, and the next session becomes harder to approach. Your mind learns. Coming back hurts. That is not the lesson you want. The better lesson is, I can handle this. That is what the first workout back should teach. Not this whole idea of, I survived and now I need 3 days to repair and a wheelchair. Because confidence is built from the evidence. Do a simple workout and you leave with some energy left in the tank. With that, you walk away with the new proof. I can do this again. That is how the fear gets smaller. So the first workout back should be almost suspiciously manageable, shorter than you think, lighter than you want, simple enough that you leave feeling like you could have done more, and is often better than I gave it all I had when you're just getting back into it, because that can leave you drained and make the next session not happen. The "I could have done more" feeling makes the next session feel possible and crave more of it. So remember, when you are rebuilding a habit, possible beats perfect. In the first 2 weeks, the goal of every session should be simple, basic, and repeatable. A few exercises and sets, all with controlled effort and good form, and then you leave. For some people, that may sound too small, but aiming for small removes drama and it gets you moving. Small lowers the threat, and once the threat is lower, consistency becomes easier. When consistency is in order, you can start adding more weight, more sets, and push even harder. But first, you need to return properly. That is the part people skip. They want to rebuild and become their old version immediately. But the first step is becoming someone who shows up again and again. To summarize, when that first session after time away feels rough, it does not mean you failed. It means several things are happening at once. The body is dealing with movement and patterns it has not done for a while. Your effort feels higher, the soreness may be stronger, and your confidence may be lower. All because you are comparing who you are today to your old level, treating it like an important test. That is the real problem, not the workout itself, the meaning attached to it. One weaker day becomes a judgment, a warning sign, a story about who you are. But the first workout back is not a verdict. It is not proof that you lost everything, that you are lazy or back at zero. It is just the first signal after a pause. And the first signal is often messy. The first day is allowed to feel awkward, heavier than expected, shorter than planned. It is allowed to be imperfect. You do not need to turn one comeback into a full identity crisis. You need to lower the pressure enough to repeat it. Because fitness is not rebuilt by one heroic workout. It is rebuilt by coming back again and again. Enough times that the body starts to remember and the brain stops treating every session like a threat. That is when the training starts to feel normal again. And that is what we're trying to rebuild. After I watched this video, this is the key takeaway I want you to have. Why the first workout back feels so bad is because it carries more meaning than one workout should carry. It carries the break, the guilt, the old version of you, the fear that you have lost progress, the pressure to prove. That is why it feels heavy. Not only because of the weights, because of the story being told. So here is the practical rule. Make the first couple of sessions back easy enough to repeat. Not easy because you are weak or lack discipline. Easy because the goal is not to punish yourself. It is to return. So lower the weight, cut the volume, keep it short, and stop before the workout turns into a fight. Let your body remember. Let your mind calm down. Let the first few sessions be a bridge, not a wall. Because you do not rebuild consistency by proving how much pain you can take. You rebuild it by showing up. Maybe that first day is not supposed to feel amazing. Maybe it is just supposed to remind you that the door is still open. You did not lose the person who works out. You just have to connect with them again. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more episodes like this one, and if you want to understand why starting again can feel so emotional before you even get to the gym to begin with, you should watch the last episode right here. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.